Well, we just came up with about 200 different points for the rest of All-Star Weekend, and that's a great segue into a game that I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't watched the highlights because I didn't race home from work today waiting to watch the highlights because maybe you've seen it. So tell me if I'm offbeat. I think there's going to be a lot of three-pointers, and then that's going to be from the logo and then from the half court. And then if there isn't a three-pointer, there's a couple of no defense layups and dunks. Maybe there's an alley-oop or two. And then in the last couple of minutes, they might have pretended to play defense. And then we got our final score, and then Damian Lillard's the MVP with 11 threes. How'd I go with that?
It's not great, just like this weekend for the NBA.
Oh,
It's
it was
I
different, was it?
think look, let me do you want spoilers here or you don't want spoilers? I think you
No,
need
no,
to
spoil everything.
spoil.
Tell me,
All
tell
right,
me what
here
I
it
missed.
is. Non-censored spoiler edition here. Dame Lillard MVP can shoot from the half court line fairly well. Yeah, and play not shock horror, but now he can actually pull up with his feet behind the line fairly well. Made two of them in the All-Star game. Why does it just not shoot that in a regular season game, man? Here's the play. Everyone go back. Defense goes back. They're not aware. Dame, pull up at the three. No one's going to guard you. If you can make that at a 40% clip, that's not a bad shot. Yeah, just shoot it. So, hey, and you're right. Okay, you're correct about the point. There were a lot of three-pointers. I watched a 2-minute, 3-minute sort of highlight clip on the game, and I don't think I saw more than two or three dunks. Yeah, remember it was all about the dunks. Yeah, about the
Mm.
creativity, about the dunks. Now it's like who can pull up from further. Yeah, I think a lot of the highlights was Tyrese Halliburton being a home court hero here in Indiana. You know, made like 10 threes or something like that and had 30 something points, but obviously didn't win MVP. You know, but there was a lot of Tyrese Halliburton shooting threes. Wow, and he got hot. I think he shot fairly well actually beyond the arc. Man, I think and the part that you got woefully wrong was like the scoreline was not even close, so there was no even point to even try in the last 2 minutes. Okay, the scoreline was not close, and I had actually picked the West to win. East came out on top, which probably actually makes some sense if I thought about it a little bit more, because they're probably the younger guys that actually, sort of, it'd be nice to get a W, whereas the old heads be like, whatever, yeah, we don't care, we're just here, we've been here already 10 times, yeah. So no, it's not that interesting. So yeah, man, I think it's a there's a lot of things that the NBA needs to think about here, and obviously Adam Silver was not happy. I think that's the media that's currently going circulated right now. He was not happy with the lack of change, I guess, to how the game was sort of taken upon. And look, how do we fix this, man? Is that sort of where we're at here? We're sort of brainstorming this ourselves. I don't know. Again, like I said, it's something that has evolved to this point. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight, and you never know these things when you do the first thing, right? You don't see the end picture. No one can because no one has a crystal ball. Okay, but when you start to make changes and change expectations and gimmicks and little things like this and so on and so forth, and rule changes and all these stuff, sort of stuff, it gets to an end point, and we're sort of now at the end point right now, being today, and it's yeah, man, it's just it's a whole different game, it's a whole different product. No one cares. The fan ultimately doesn't care. But yeah, look, if I was gonna make one suggestion here, why not make them into like a playoff format? Yeah, because guess what? Players I think can go, I lost a game. Oh man, I went to All Star Weekend and I lost. Whatever. One team has to win, one team has to lose. Would players be more willing to swallow the pill and say, I lost 4-0? I don't know.
So essentially you think the rookie format on a Friday isn't a terrible format for this kind of All Star game?
No, but the rookie format breaks them down to four different teams, I think, yeah. So I'm saying keep the same teams, but play like, say, let's play like 12-minute games or say 15-minute games. I don't know, whatever the timing would be. And then you're now looking to win All-Star Weekend by getting 4 wins. So you could play anywhere between 4 to 7 of these games.
Well, I think I don't want to play extra games, so I'm already anti it as a player. But
But as a
yeah,
spectator,
look,
you wouldn't be anti it. And here's the catch. If you've invested into 6 games already and you're tied 3-3, now you actually have an epic game 7. If you've gone
you would
so
host.
far, if you've gone so far, would you not want to get that fourth? Okay, and this is the part I'm saying, that is a NBA player more willing to walk away and go, hey, I lost the All-Star Weekend 0-4. I got swept. I don't know. So maybe at least one or two of those games they go, hell man, I got to get on the board at least. I don't know.
It's an option. I think you worry about playing time. You'd almost have to have the games be like
8 minutes. Make them 8 minutes then.
seven, 8 minutes,
Eight
and
minutes.
then if you had to play seven,
Smash
you're
it out.
still playing a fair amount of
Short and
minutes.
sweet. Smash it out. 8 minutes then. I don't know. Like I said, timing. I don't have that. I haven't thought about long enough about that. You're right. I'm not trying to make this big turn into a 5 hour event. Okay, but I'm saying because again, look, isn't to me really the playoffs and game sevens is what we all crave for, right? Yeah, don't we all create that? Wow, couldn't we create a 3 point game with 2 minutes left in a game seven? There's nothing more charged than that sort of environment and situation. Okay, and I guess if you're going to take that into an All-Star weekend in a mini micro sort of system, then maybe that's something that could be considered because it ain't
Well,
working now.
I think you've almost pitched a perfect amalgamation of what they kind of had. So we went back to a format after having the quarters. So you would win the quarter, and then your score would be put together for the final
That was
quarter.
confusing.
That was probably too confusing, but it also didn't matter if you won the quarter. You could lose three quarters but win the game. So what if we merged the two ideas? You play your four quarters, you would have to win at least three to win the overall game. But your target score, you play to 25 for the first quarter. The first game one is to 25. You win, one on the board. Then you play game two to 25, and then it's there. So they're not a set amount of time. There's a tiny bit of competitiveness per game, and then you're accumulating your points for overall. Or you could do seven. We're going to play 7 games to 20. And then it ultimately opens up the minutes. It means that, hey, LeBron's not going to play every single game. Maybe you set some weird rules, like you have to play a new lineup each game, or it can only be 5v5 or something like that. I don't know. But they do have to do something, right? And we may be the people to solve it with that idea right there.
This idea has basically been one that's been in my head for like an hour. Yeah, so it's really, really fresh. But if you were to sort of press me a bit more here, I think it's just keep it simple. I've said that a few times, I think, this podcast, right? Keep it simple. And if you think about in the playground, man, when you play over like a lunchtime period or an afternoon and you like say, let's play, and we play to a target score, obviously, because there's no clock in the playground, right? To run the time down. But you play to a target score, someone wins, that's the conclusion. And then you do it again. But when you do it again, you start at 0-0. That's important. I think that simplicity is important because it allows you to reset and stuff like that. So whether you then add rules like you said, maybe you could do things like the coaches, all right, you only get, say, one sub. Yeah, you get only one sequence of subs. Okay, so you can only make one sub. Whether you sub one guy on or 5 guys on, that's up to you. But you only make one sub. It's an 8 minute game. If we're talking about say an 8 minute format, so it's a shorter game, 8 minute, one sub only. Therefore, you have to sort of strategize a little bit there, or in that sense. And I don't know. And again, maybe you could make a sense where the coaches have to like everyone has to start at least one of these mini games. Okay, so at some point you got to put that, let's say that all-star scrub, yeah, obviously on the sense that they have to actually start in the game, and then you make some decisions on personnel and who you put out there on that 5 to hopefully get you that W, because at the end of the day your team needs to get 4 to win. Look, I don't know. Look, again, you could totally backfire. Maybe a team is up 3-0 and the other team just folds and doesn't care. But then at the same point, that sets as you talk about a lot, narrative. What if my team is up 3-0 and then suddenly we won 4 in a row? What a choke for the other conference, right? These are things that created with this best of 7 playoff and final sort of format that are a part, I think, of the excitement of the game.
I think we solved it. I think if we just clip this last bit and we send that off, this is our moment to be on the advisory board. So I'm actually excited. It was a really terrible weekend until we came up with the solution. So that's a great way to end it, I think.
It's beautiful, man. I'll make sure I clip this. I believe we got hit with copyright this week as well. So, so see you next week.